Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter, of course, at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Saturday's explosive edition of the DCEU Daily. Take a listen to this. Now, Daniel RPK is a scooper, and he claimed this about the Flash movie. According to Daniel RPK, the Flash movie will revisit all the DCEU movies and give them an alter take. WB would use the Flash movie to set up a new Justice League movie. Right, so again we're going to go back to the Future 2. Now in Back to the Future 2, Marty McFly literally goes back to the Future 1, the first movie, and his character, his present day character, is in that movie, and he's treading carefully within that movie, avoiding certain events but clashing with certain events as well. It looks like Andy Muschietti is attempting to do the same thing, but according to Daniel, they're trying to do something else, alter certain events. Now, part of me thinks, yes, this is great, because it will be a lot of fun to see Barry Allen, aka Ezra Miller, to be treading lightly in all the previous DCEU movies. Now, does this include James Gunn's The Suicide Squad? I would assume so. But this is interesting. For example, a few years back when the Lego Movie boys were going to direct this movie, they spoke about it being very similar to Back to the Future. And it looks like that take has remained within this film. This means Christina Hodgson is adapting those two lads' idea, or maybe it was somebody else's idea. Maybe it was the studio's idea. Clearly, this is a studio idea. Now, of course, it's a lot more complicated because they did this in Avengers Endgame as well, and I criticised it as well. I didn't think it was very inventive. And now they used that for the Loki series as well, and it kind of worked, I suppose, and you got a kind of what-if scenario as well. And so I can give you a few examples. So what, for example, if in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Barry Allen is there as a Peacemaker is about to kill Rick Flag, but Barry stops it from happening. He stops the bullet or whatever he does, right? The Flash has these kind of abilities to do this. So I think what they're thinking of doing is undoing certain situations. So Man of Steel, for example, they could stop Superman from killing Zod. But there's an important one, which I think everyone would love, by the way. In Wonder Woman 2017, they could actually change, what's his name? Chris Pine's character. I forgot his bloody name, but Chris Pine's character dies. He makes the sacrifice, right? They could actually change that. So, also what Daniel says, they're looking to do set up a new Justice League movie, which we pretty much knew already. And so, if the Flashpoint universe is resolved by the end of this movie, there will be a very, very different DCEU. Because not only are we seeing a Flash movie here, not only will Flashpoint give Earth 1 a new take for that movie, and you would assume when Barry goes back and resets things, they're going to be rather different. But we didn't know they were going to do this. Now, Kevin Feige is the orchestrator of the MCU. So it's okay to go back in Endgame and do whatever they want. It's his vision. In Back to the Future 2, Robert Zemeckis decides to tread on his original movie. And that's fine. But Andy Muschietti had nothing to do with Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, any of the current DCEU movies. So he's treading over other people's work. That's the controversy of it all. Now, obviously, the Restore the Snyderverse fandom are not happy about this because they're concerned about their characters and their universes being deleted, being changed. Now, I don't think they're going to use this to delete the Snyderverse, but I do think they will use this to change certain elements that happened in the Snyderverse, but not just in the Snyderverse, other movies. They're looking not only to change things that people didn't like about those movies, they're going to stop certain characters dying. I'm sure of it. I think Steve Trevor, that's who Chris Pine plays in the Wonder Woman universe, Steve Trevor. So this, Barry could save his life. So he's actually going to tread over all these movies. But are these the events of Earth 1, or are these the movies in an alternate universe? I don't know. I would assume not, that these are the proper movies he'll be treading in. As I say, the element of actually seeing Barry Allen tread in all these movies is a fantastic concept if executed properly, and I have faith in Andy Muschietti doing this. Now, I've been saying for days and months now that the Flash movie will be a celebration of the so-called DCEU we've seen thus far, every single movie. So in that element, it's good, because we're going to see this character treading on all these movies, treading through all these movies, but it's a very ambitious thing to do. Now, the controversial element of it is the changes that will be implemented. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I can guarantee you that they're going to try and stop Superman from killing Zod. I don't know what they would do with BVS. I mean, it's a controversial movie. Some people don't like any of it. What are you going to do? Just delete that movie? I don't think they would do that. They're not going to do that. I know people are getting carried away. The internet's angry. The internet's always angry, and not everyone is going to like what they do with this Flash movie. There's no question about this. Now, so I'm somewhat surprised that they're doing this. I didn't think they were doing this. But, this guy, Daniel RPK, is a reliable scooper. He doesn't get everything right. And also, when something's posted, we don't know the narrative of what the person who said it meant. Is this a rumour? Is this a fact? Does Daniel know this for sure? We don't know that. Now, I know he does something on YouTube where people pay to see his videos, and, that's fine, and he does well out of it. He knows information. It's as simple as that. And so he gets to, make some money out of that. But he is a reliable scoop. I don't agree with all his movie opinions, by the way. He was against the day and date, and he was boring on and on about it all the time. I did not agree with him about that. And he's clearly got a lot of contacts within the industry, and that's good. We need people like Daniel. They keep us in touch with things that are happening. So if we don't like it, we can talk about it on social media, and sometimes the studios and the creatives see this and they don't do this. But let me be absolutely clear. If this is true, and I think that it is, no one's changing anything. Walter Hamada has been planning this for a very, very long time. Now, I'm a supporter of the Snyderverse, but it's not that simple of just being a supporter or loving Zack's DC movies. There's a problem here. From the inception of the DCEU, there's been a problem. So now they're going to have the Flash tread in these movies and maybe change certain elements of it. Keep certain people alive who were killed originally in these movies. Listen, you've got Man of Steel and BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. They can't change the movies you've got at home. That's not the point. That's not the point. So the movies are changing in that current timeline when Barry's doing it. But the original events are still the original events, because I know this is confusing, but because if the original events in your wardrobe on your hard copy weren't there, Barry couldn't then come in Flashpoint and change thus events. So that film is not going to be ruined for you. But listen, they want to do something. They want to reassess this franchise. So as I say, this is somewhat controversial. They are ripping off Back to the Future 2 and Avengers Endgame, so that will be labelled at them. I don't know how I feel about changing other people's movies, but as I've said, those original events, let's just take Man of Steel for example, happen. If they didn't happen, then Barry couldn't change them. So you can go back and watch that movie, but then some events will change. And personally, this is my personal take on it, and I'm kind of torn in two here. But I think seeing Barry Allen tread in these movies, you know, and kind of creep through these events and see what Clark went through in Man of Steel. Don't forget, Superman's his hero. He said that in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, and I love that take. And by the way, Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash in the TV series, the Arrowverse TV series, is a huge Superman fan, and that just kind of made me love him even more, because I think he's great. Whether you like Arrowverse, whether you like the Flash TV show, Grant Gustin is a fantastic Flash Barry Allen. But this is interesting now, because I don't think he's just going to be treading in the DCEU movies. Oh no, this is how they're going to do it. We knew that Barry Allen would be going through all these different versions of the multiverse and seeing these different iterations of DC live action characters. So it goes beyond that. And this is why, actually, this is very exciting. So I'm not hating on this, because Barry Allen will probably do the same thing, treading the Arrowverse, treading, Titans and Doom Patrol, and maybe even Smallville. Yes, Smallville itself. I think he's going to tread in every single freaking iteration. So, not only could he change certain events in the DCEU, which is looking like it's going to happen, he is going to be treading in your favourite DC live action franchise and maybe changing it. But what's also feasible, which would make this movie very ambitious, what if he treads in the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe? Now, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but fuck me. If they do this, take my fucking money now. Ultimately, this is an exciting, ambitious project that's trying to reframe the DCEU in a very ambitious, visionary way. So am I a supporter of him treading through all these movies, treading through Arrowverse and making certain changes? Yes, because if that brings Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen back to life, good. If this, some people hate Cavill's Superman killing Zod, and hey, Michael Shannon, he's great. That means he can recur. Chris Pine, if they do this, bring Steve Trevor back to life, that means we don't have to have any more Quantum Leap scenarios, which means in Wonder Woman 3, which we'll discuss, because there's some Nubian news about that film, and we'll discuss it very shortly, that means he's alive. And also, in the comics, in some graphic novels, Steve Trevor actually joins the Suicide Squad. So that would be interesting as well. I don't know if James Gunn would want him in the Suicide Squad kind of franchise, but that would be awesome, because who wouldn't want to work with Chris Pine or have him as part of their IPs? And by the way, the Suicide Squad IP right now could do with all the help it could get. And Steve Trevor is the right man for the job. So that's what I'm saying to you. And I didn't think about this it was only now when I was talking about, them having the Flash treading in every DCEU movie. But also, he can tread in other shows. Let's look at Superman Returns. He can go in that universe, in Superman Returns, and reframe that movie. And he can show us certain things that happened. What we found out in Crisis, that Superman lost Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, his wife, his child Jason, everyone. We could maybe see this. So all of a sudden, we're looking at a film that we thought was going to be pretty exciting. And we always knew it was going to change everything, but we never knew how it would change everything. Now, we thought originally this was just a simplistic movie. He goes back in time, saves his mum's life, creates Flashpoint, goes back, fixes what he broke, and there's a few little changes, or maybe big changes, right? That's not what they're doing here. They're semi-adapting Flashpoint. But what they're doing is having him tread in every movie, every TV show, and maybe changing a lot of things. They're connecting everything together. Andy and Barbara Machete have already told us that. So this is how they're reframing everything. He's going to tread in every film, maybe even the Joker film. Who knows? Who knows? So he could tread in the DCEU, every DCEU movie, every Arrowverse show, every other DC movie that's ever been made, including Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie. Everything, and shows that have been commissioned and we haven't seen yet. Maybe he'll even tread in Batgirl's movie and Blue Beetle's movie. Yes, my friends, we are looking at a very ambitious movie. And even though I criticised this very thing in Avengers Endgame, at the end of the day, I think this is huge. And this will be done in a better way, in a more relatable way. So I'm fine with this. Listen, you know, I love Zack and his DC movies. I say every day, I've said it already on this video to remind people. The pie eaters at the back before they start attacking me. But you can attack me if you want. I'm bulletproof. That's basically, I'm like Superman. I see through people. So it's okay. It's all okay. I love that, by the way. Anyway, so I am actually quite excited about this. Now, when I first read this, when I woke up this morning, I thought, oh, this is dodgy, man. What are they going to do here? But now I've thought about it and I kind of read exactly what Daniel RPK has said. It's interesting. Now, the final part is that they're trying to set up a new Justice League. Now, these relevant changes will set up new situations. Now, we know there's an issue with Ray Fisher, so there may be a new Cyborg. And that is going to be really hard for supporters of Restore the Snyderverse to take. But Ray had every opportunity to be part of this, and he doesn't want to, because he's taking morality over entertainment. I respect him for that, but at the end of the day, they had to do something. They have to continue making these movies. Do I believe this movie, right? This movie and the changes they're making and having Barry Allen walk through every continuity of live action DC that has ever been will save the DCEU. I've always said, for me, the DCEU doesn't need saving in terms of the films. I think most of them are masterpieces, a lot of them anyway. But in terms of the amount of money they can make, in terms of the broader regular audience, that's what I mean. Because in those people's eyes, the DCEU absolutely, definitely needs saving. I think, yes, it can. I think it can be very exciting. And this kind of thing that they're doing will excite people. So this is a very ambitious thing to do. And yes, I support it. I support Walter doing it, and Andy Muschietti doing it, and Christina Hodgson doing it, Jim Lee, and everyone else who's involved. I think this is a very... When I think about this happening, him treading in the movies and the TV shows, wow, what a fucking great idea. Because even I, with my vast storyteller's imagination, didn't see this coming. Close your eyes for a minute. Imagine Barry Allen in Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, the Snyder Cut, you know, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, the Suicide Squad, Arrowverse, Superman Returns, Superman the movie. It's very, very exciting. Very exciting. And I think if they're going to tread in Superman the movie, they would need Brandon Routh, who's actually Reeves' Superman now, to play that part in Superman the movie. So he looks recognisable, so it's Brandon Routh now. Now that could be very, very controversial to Christopher Reeve fans. Not to me, because I'm a Christopher Reeve fan, because I understand it's a necessity. So my final word on this for now is, this is fucking exciting. Bring on November the 6th, or whatever the exact date is, 2022, for the Flash movie. Because I've been saying for weeks, this is the movie that will change the entirety of the DCEU. And now we have evidence to support this. And this is a really, really good way of going about it. Now, when I started talking about this about 19 minutes and 15 seconds ago, I wasn't actually sure if I supported this. But now I've actually convinced myself. Because unlike some of the people getting angry on the internet, I thought about it. Because I'm not just thinking about Zack Snyder and the Snyderverse. I'm thinking about DC live action in its future. And this would set up a wonderful future for the DCEU. And I can't wait to see it in this movie. Old Daniel RPK has been a busy boy recently. He has more to tell us. Right, Rumour, Wonder Woman 3, as stated by Daniel RPK, Nubia will be introduced in Wonder Woman 3 and there are plans to do a solo spin-off of her. This is very, very exciting. Now, we could actually see Nubia in Flashpoint. In fact, I think we will. I think what they're all doing with DC and Sarnoff and all these projects and all these plans, I think if you're a DC fan, and I mean an unbiased one, not one who just likes a certain director. As you know, I love Snyder and his DCEU take. But I'm lucky to be an all-round DC fan. I have been a DC fan ever since I saw Superman the movie. But this is great. To give her a spin-off movie, to have her in Wonder Woman 3. My only regret is that the person dealing with Nubia is the person who introduced Maxwell Lord and Barbara Manova, Cheetah, in Wonder Woman 84, Patty Jenkins. That's my only regret. The only thing that can happen here is if she's reined in and other people are pulling the creative reins. I mean Walter Hamada. It's clear they're not going to allow her to fuck up anything else. So I think Wonder Woman 3 will have a vast amount of DCEU characters in it. And again, it will be another celebration of the DCEU, because this is the future of DC live action, crossovers, Easter eggs. And listen, I don't even know much about Nubia. I don't know. I think she's Diana's sister, right? And I think she's a Wonder Woman of colour, right? From what I can tell from this picture. That's great representation and inclusion because she's already there as a black woman. That's great. So we're not replacing a white woman with a black woman or a Latino woman with a black woman. It's actually there in the comics, and that's great. I want everyone to be represented genuinely. That's all I want with great writing and character development. I only criticise representation when it's only done for the sake of political narratives and not for entertainment. I want to see people represented. Maybe even I can create a great DC Anglo-Cypriot, Greek Cypriot character. That would be fun as well. But this is great, so I think this would be absolutely awesome. Expect to see her in the Flash as well. And for her to be in this film, because I think Wonder Woman 3 will heavily be about Themyscira and Zack Snyder's and Chris Terrio's kind of what they were going to do in Justice League 2 or 3. I can't remember which film they were going to do it at. But, you know, Diana Gal Gadot was going to go back to Fantasy Island for Themyscira. Her mother was going to die and she was going to become the Queen of Fantasy Island for Themyscira. So it was a very interesting arc and storyline for Diana, you know, starting from BVS to that. It's very interesting. You know, Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio did some great things with the Snyder Cut as well. So I'm looking forward to this. We know Patty Jenkins. We know the original Wonder Woman from the original series is going to be there as well. Forgot her name already. You know me. I'm useless with names. What's my name? Mick, yeah. I think it's Mick. Is my name Mick? Anyway. So she's going to be there. Patty Jenkins is going to be there. They're going to be there for the 80 years celebration, but they're also going to make an announcement about Wonder Woman 3 and maybe give us a few details as well. As I said, a week next Saturday, I will be dropping bite-sized videos every time something's revealed at DC Fandom. It's a huge day for me. It's a huge day for every single DC fan who genuinely loves DC. A celebration, breaking news, and I'm going to be there with you. But this Nubia news is awesome, and I can't wait to see who they cast in the role. DC's Peacemaker teaser trailer confirmed to release next week. DC's Peacemaker, created by James Gunn and starring John Cena, announces the release of a teaser trailer next week during DC's Fandom event by Timothy McKelland of Screen Rant. DC has announced that the first teaser trailer for the Peacemaker series will debut next week. Peacemaker is a spin-off series from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad saw a team of villains tasked with taking down a secret base on a small island nation by the even more villainous Amanda Waller, portrayed by Viola Davis. The cast of characters was led by Idris Elba's Bloodsport. It also featured Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man, Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2, Sylvester Stallone as the voice of King Shark, and of course John Cena as Peacemaker. Gunn created and directed the Peacemaker series, which features Cena's return to the character. In the film, Peacemaker suffered what looked to be a mortal wound. However, as the end credits scene showed, he was still alive. Yeah, he's basically, I think he is a super soldier. I think he's in the comics, and I think that's why he's still alive. And recovering in a hospital when Steve Aggie's John Economos and Jennifer Holland's Amelia Harcourt showed up with a new mission for him. That scene sets up the series, which has shared clips mocking Peacemaker's costume and car, but has yet to release an official trailer, though that is about to change. In a tweet from the Peacemaker on HBO Max account, it was announced that the first teaser trailer for Peacemaker would debut next week during DC's fandom event. The post reads, "You can see even more of my work in the Peacemaker teaser at DC Fandom." It's also accompanied by a promotional photo that features Cena in costume seated on Peacemaker's car. Check out the tweet below. Peacemaker on HBO Max. I'll go ahead and print this out for you. You can see even more of my work in the Peacemaker teaser at DC Fandom, and this is the picture. Pretty cool picture, by the way. He looks really cool. Details about Peacemaker's story are still under wraps. However, with the release of the teaser trailer next week, that could all change. With DC's fandom event, DC will share far more than just a Peacemaker trailer. The fandom trailer highlights Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, Robert Pattinson's The Batman, and even Ezra Miller from the upcoming The Flash film, enticing audiences with everything DC is developing. Aside from Cena, Holland and Aggie in the cast, Peacemaker will also feature Danielle Brooks, Robert Patrick and Christopher Hydrell in roles. Given that Gunn is helming the series, fans can expect his brand of humour and action, and he can expertly weave with emotional character moments. We also know from the trailer description that Peacemaker will have direct connection to Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which was expected. More news on Peacemaker will be shared along with the teaser trailer next week, and the show is slated to premiere on HBO Max this January. In fact, that's the next DCEU project to be released. Unfortunately, all of us in Europe and in other countries don't have availability of HBO Max. So hopefully, I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how I'm going to see this series, because I literally don't have access to anything. So it's going to be interesting. I am trying to set something up to have a bit more access to everything. Let's see if it works. But that's next January. Now, as I said, I think he's actually a super soldier, which they really didn't go into in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, I haven't read the graphic novels with Peacemaker in them, but I'm assuming Robert Patrick, who plays his father, had something to do with him becoming a super soldier, and I can't wait to see how it's all going to work out. And finally today, the Batman Lego set shows Riddler in the Batcave and Catwoman chase. Lego has unveiled new sets based on the Batman, including first looks at action scenes involving the Riddler in the Batcave and Catwoman on a bike by Elliot Griffiths of Screen Rant. Two new Lego sets based on the Batman have been revealed, showing the Riddler infiltrating the Batcave and a motorcycle chase with Catwoman in the upcoming film. Robert Pattinson dons the cape and cowl as Batman, while Zoe Kravitz steps into the role of Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, and Paul Dano plays the classic villain, the Riddler. The Batman, which is directed by Matt Reeves, hits theatres in March 2022. Many details about the film have been kept under wraps. The Batman's teaser trailer released at DC Fandom 2020 revealed a creepy omnibus take on Batman's first few years as a hero. The short glimpse short glimpse gave a good overview of the main characters in the film, though it didn't reveal much about the plot. Still, it showed Dano's Zodiac Killer-esque take on the Riddler and Kravitz's Catwoman in costume. Lego revealed its range of the Batman movie today, showing off new sets that give a closer look at several important elements and characters in the movie. Batman and Selina Kyle motorcycle chase portrays a sequence that fans got a look at in recent footage, as well as early set leaks. The set features 2 Lego minifigures, including Batman with the film's new version of the grey and black crime-fighting suit, and Catwoman. Both figures come with buildable bikes, and the set also seems to confirm that the Bat Signal will make an appearance. Batcave. The Riddler face-off features 6 minifigures, including exclusive figures of Dano's Riddler, Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon, and Alfred Pennyworth, as played by Andy Serkis. Including in the set are various features of the new Batcave. Wow, I want this! Which looks to be formed in an unused Wayne family train station. Wow! So that's where the Batcave's going to be. Wow! That's mad, isn't it? In an unused train station. Well, that's an interesting idea. And I don't know if that comes from the comics or not. So let's take a look at this. Wow, look, just look. Look how awesome this is. So you can see the bikes. You can see a few figures, and you see the bikes made up there as well. And you can see the Bat Signal as well. So cool. Then you've got the set there on display again. And I think that's the Batcave. That looks awesome as well. And there you go. That is really awesome, isn't it? And this is great. This is great marketing from Lego and Warner Brothers combining together. This is what we want to see from a comic book movie as well. Serkis' version of Alfred has yet to be seen in any footage or images. I wonder why. So this Lego figure is the first look at the Lord of the Rings actor in action. The set seems to imply an action scene or confrontation taking place within Bruce Wayne's secret cave, with Gordon, Riddler and Batman and all included. Interesting. Of course, Lego has tricked fans before, and their products don't always accurately represent the finished article. Sets for Avengers Endgame, while featuring recognisable characters and locations, often shook things up by inserting and removing items and people to keep the mysteries alive. Iron Man 3's tie-in Lego in 2013 featured a battle with the Mandarin riding a flamethrower car, a sequence which wasn't in the movie and presumably wasn't in any early drafts of the scripts either. DC has likely been selective with what Lego can and cannot show. So many big secrets and surprises are surely still awaiting fans when they sit down in theatres to watch the Batman in March 2022. Until then, Lego and Batman enthusiasts alike can pick up the new sets ranging from $15 to $100 each. Wow, big money though. But I tell you what, if you've got the spare cash, well worth it to check them out properly to see what they've got in that Lego set, because that could give us a few clues. And if you do buy this set before I do, please let me know. Please DM me or let me know on my timeline over on Twitter @MoviesTVMad, and we can discuss it on this very channel. You wouldn't think that Matt Reeves, the Batman, would have Lego sets and toys. Of course, studios love all this. It's the whole point of doing DC. You know, merchandising is important. I think merchandising with the Snyderverse was slightly more difficult because it didn't appeal to children. Not that just children love merch anyway. Adults buy this stuff as well. So I think we are looking at DC now trying to make money out of everything. That's why we're getting the multiverse strategy and the changes we spoke about in The Flash, which will change everything about the DCEU. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. I will be back tomorrow on Sunday for even more DCEU Daily, reacting to everything going on in the comics, in DC live action. So hopefully I will see you again tomorrow. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. Until tomorrow, goodbye.